I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom call today is Mr. Jason Spang. He is the superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools. Good morning, Mr. Spang. How are you today?
Good morning, Seth. Doing great. We're fresh off a board meeting last night, so a lot going on in the district, but wouldn't have it any other way.
No doubt. Yeah, first day of school for your kids as well. When did your kids get back in the buildings?
So they got back last week on Wednesday.
Okay.
So we're I think this is our 6th day of actual instruction. Teachers started last Monday, so we're wheeling and dealing and on a roll here.
So are there butterflies from your perspective? Going into that first day of school, you're the superintendent. It's your first first day as a superintendent type of stuff. They're butterflies, or is it just another day for you?
I wouldn't say it's another day. I would say more excitement than butterflies. I've really felt like and hoped that this would be my calling. And I think that's been reinforced, ever since I started July 1st. I was very excited to get that first day with staff and that first day with kids. First day with staff, I brought down one of my lifelong mentors. His name's Scott Adrian. He's the assistant superintendent of business up in Dunlap schools. But he was my former coach at Moreau Forsyth, just a great guy. And so he came in, he was my keynote motivational speaker. And so he did a fantastic job and had a lot of positive feedback from staff saying, this was a great first day back, best one in the last 5 years. And so it was very positive. And then to end that day with staff, we brought in NWEA MAP because we are a MAP school, do MAP testing for benchmarking in the fall, winter, and spring. And so we brought in the NWEA staff to work with us. They're going to come in 2 more times this year. And we're excited to continue that partnership as well.
Cool. Nice. Very good. Now, did Mr. Adrian, did he spend time in Maroa?
Yeah. So he was my high school basketball coach at Maroa. And he also, so going into my senior year, he took an athletic director job over at Muhammad Seymour. But after I left Maroa and graduated, went on to college, he made his way back to the district as the high school principal.
Oh, okay.
And so then he moved on to Dunlap. He was a high school principal there, then got promoted. And now he's the assistant soup. So just someone who's always been an influence in my life, someone who's held me accountable, coached me through sports, but also most importantly through life. And so he's just been just integral in my learning and progress as an educator.
Always helps to have those types of individuals in your life for sure. And it's funny how your time, as a kid comes full circle with that individual coming back to you to play such a role in your, development, in your professional life as well. So those are fun stories to hear for sure. Well, Mr. Spang, I know you had a board meeting last night, and let's follow that up with some pretty exciting news in terms of the athletics of Mount Pulaski Schools, particularly the outdoor side of things. What's going on? What's the latest?
Yeah, so last month, our board passed a proposal from Byrne & Jones to build a new athletic facility on the north side of town at Veterans Park. We just more recently, towards the end of Fred's tenure, we acquired Veterans Park from the community. And so we were able to acquire about a 5-acre parcel of land on the northwest side of the park. It was actually conjoining to the park property. We acquired that, or in the process of acquiring that through Waymo Mountain Farms. Those 5 acres are actually owned by Bill Gates. Yes, the Bill Gates are Microsoft. And so I would be shocked if he actually knew about this transaction, though. But long story short, we have local farmers that do farm that land. And as a part of that acquisition, we're able to bring an 8-lane all-weather track, have the ability to host sectional track meets. But for Mount Pulaski's existence, we had a cinder track that the kids would practice on, but that's tough, with relays and exchange zones and all those kinds of things. You have to get out there and paint those lines, and then after it rains, that goes away. And so we're super excited to be able to bring that to our community. It's right next to a retirement community, so it's going to be a community space as well. So those elderly folk will be able to walk over, walk on an all-weather track, which will be safe, It'll be nice, convenient. So we're just really, really excited to share that with the community. We're doing some baseball upgrades as well, as far as putting in, a 30-foot high backstop net to prevent foul balls from going on the track facility if we're hosting multiple events. We got a press box and home bleachers that will also be a concession stand and bathroom. So a lot going on, but we've almost finalized the plat survey, and we're set to close on September 6th and set to break ground September 23rd. And
wow.
So if all of that stays true, then we'll be under construction from September to May. But we'll be ready to go after that.
Where two questions: where will you play baseball if this isn't done? And second, turfing the baseball field, Mr. Spang, is that a possibility?
Possibly down the road, but not yet.
Yeah,
we've got a lot of improvements and capital projects along the way, and so one of the biggest next steps after this is the improvement of our facilities here at the grade school. And so, we want to make sure that we prioritize our list, and not that athletics prioritizes education in any way, but we've got the revenue to handle both projects. And so even if we were to get the ball rolling on the elementary, which we've already started, we wouldn't be able to break ground at least for a year. And so we're just in a unique situation where Veterans Park's on the north side of town. It's not conjoined to an educational facility. So essentially we can break ground sooner, but then also handle both projects and make progress in each of those areas. But to answer your question, maybe someday down the road, but we certainly want to prioritize our projects, and that's just not at the top of the list right now.
Yeah. So you said this could spill into May. Does that impact the baseball season at all?
It does, but that's more so on the track side. We're not doing much to baseball.
Okay.
We're installing those nets. They'll be able to do that over the winter after they have the concrete pad formed. But to the actual field, we're not doing a whole lot of maintenance. We're kind of regrading it, cleaning some things up, but there will be no delay for baseball season.
Okay, gotcha. Very good. Well, look forward to all of that. You mentioned you do have the money for this, Mr. Spang. Where does the money come from?
A lot of different places. Obviously we receive revenue from CPPRT, which is corporate property replacement tax, PPRT with just regular personal property. We did receive projections, the whole state did, earlier this week. And again, they're just projections, but that's looking to go down by a third. So, we're in a pretty unique situation, I would say, in the fact that we can receive EAV and revenue from the wind farms we have locally here. So there's a new set of wind farms that are set to be assessed on the east side of our school district over by Chestnut. And so my understanding is those are going to be assessed prior to January 1. And as long as they are, then January 1 of 26, we would start receiving revenue from that new set of wind farms. So
gotcha.
We have several wind farms in the district that bring in significant revenue, and we've been lucky enough to utilize that revenue for our capital improvement.
Gotcha. Very good. Mr. Jason Spang, Superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools, my guest on the Zoom call here for this morning. Mr. Spang, just real quick, anything else out of your board meeting from Wednesday night?
Just kind of just revamping things. Anytime a new superintendent takes over, they are excited about bringing in new ideas. And so one of those is certainly that partnership with MAP. The other one is finishing the project that Fred started with the athletic facility. But as far as the rest of the items of business, most districts in the state did adopt their budget for the month of August, and so we did that last night. Our budget was on display for 30 days. We've been working with threat assessment, interview questions. Knock on wood, hopefully you never have to use those. But in a time of crisis, we have those available. Those got approved last night, so we feel really good about that. We were able to on some smaller ends, we were able to purchase some district radios So that way we'll be able to communicate more effectively as a district staff, no matter what campus we're on.
Mm-hmm.
Just some improvements that Mount Pulaski hasn't seen. Wherever life takes you. I was very fortunate to work for Peatone Schools, Bureau Valley Schools, and you learn things along the way that could make your community and your school district, operate a little bit more efficiently. And so we brought those ideas back to Mount Pulaski, and they've embraced them. And so we've taken steps to make some improvements.
Sure. Very good. Well, Mr. Spang, I'll tell you what, let's take a break here, come back and chat some more. What's the best way for folks to follow along, learn about all things Mount Pulaski Schools?
Absolutely. I would say on our website, our district secretary, Sarah Ferris, does an excellent job of updating that with our board agenda, board briefs, and those kinds of things. We also have active Facebook pages. So between the high school page and the grade school page, we like to share a lot of what's going on. In the community, we have a fall fest that's right around the corner here in September. And we have a volleyball tournament with that. We have our Bill Ricks basketball tournament coming up in November. So a lot going on. We have our second Friday uptown, which we bring a lot of vendors out. So the second Friday in September is our next one. And so that's kind of what we got coming down the line in the horizon. So
easy enough. Jason Spang, superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools, our guest on the phone here, or on the Zoom call, I should say, here for this morning. More to come with Mr. Spang on the morning show. WHOW.
I'm Len Casper, the voice of the White Sox Radio Network. McLean County, tune into the Sox right here on 106.5 FM, WHOW.
Brought to you by Warner Hospital and Health Services, Baum Chevrolet Buick, Love It Once More Thrift Store, and Midstate Eye, all in Clinton.
Channel C technical agronomist Lindsay McKenzie is joining us now from Illinois to share research efforts by Bayer Crop Sciences to combat plant diseases like tar spot. Lindsay, what's the latest?
We're always looking to meet the needs of our farmer customers. One of the ways that we're doing that is really investing in our R&D pipeline, and we are leading the industry, the seed and crop protection industry, by a 2-to-1 margin. We're definitely focusing on breeding new products with that enhanced tolerance to tar spot and trying to combat this not new disease, definitely leaving its mark on the industry.
What progress are researchers making?
Our breeders are identifying new genetic combinations that we're able to bring new hybrids to our growers with an increased tolerance to tar spot and other diseases using our precision breeding strategy.
Thanks, Lindsay. Always read and follow IRM where applicable, grain marketing, and all other stewardship practices and pesticide labeled directions.
As a nonprofit thrift store, Love It Once More in Clinton relies on your donations to help us help others. So right now, if you bring us a donation, we'll give you a card good for 10% off your purchase. So bring us a donation where it stays local to help local. See us on Facebook, Instagram, and doitdailynews.com.
This is Ryan Utterback with Utterback Real Estate, and man, is it hot.
And sticky.
No, I'm talking about the housing market.
I can't handle the sweat, man. It reminds me of my days down on the Chattahoochee.
Oh boy, that's why you're the other Ryan.
View the latest listings by clicking the Utterback Real Estate icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom call, I should say today, Mr. Jason Spang is the superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools. Well, Mr. Spang, I know that some curriculum things are new at the school this year. Tell me about an entrepreneurship class. This seems to be kind of an exploding trend in area schools. What's your entrepreneurship class look like?
Yeah, it's we're really excited about it. So they're going to start with a screen printing company that we're kind of developing within the walls of our high school. They started with our PE uniforms this year. So basically, they just purchase shorts and shirts with a blank canvas. And then they screen print those. So we are creating those internally now instead of just purchasing through an external vendor like Gopher. But between the teacher and the students, we were able to open up a debit card and use it with an activity account. So essentially, they started with the PE shirts, and they're going to start to develop some Mount Pulaski apparel and some new screen printing designs that we'll be able to sell to community members. So they're super excited. We've partnered up with Longview Bank, who we already bank through here in town locally, but we were able to open a debit card through them. So we'll be able to purchase the materials we need, but also be able to scan credit cards and sell shirts to the local community. And so the students are going to be learning on QuickBooks and be exploring that curriculum. And are super excited about it.
Now, will they get more in depth than that? I mean, will they have lessons with local business owners or other experiences where maybe you talked about them starting like the class business? It sounds like, what other experiences will they have with this program?
Yeah, that's certainly what we're going to offer to the community. So we want to reach out to some of the smaller businesses in the community and see if they're interested in us creating shirts for them. It's not just screen printing, but it's also embroidery. And so we want to expand our horizons. Once we take care of the local community and take care of our own, and we would like to spread our wings and maybe start dipping into maybe Lincoln, Springfield, Forsyth area, and see if we can garner some business. But any opportunity that we have for our kids to learn the business side and learn marketing and things like that is certainly something we want to bring to the community and give experiences to our kids.
No question. Anything else about that, Mr. Spang, we didn't touch on? You want to put out there for us?
No, I would say the other thing we got going on in previous years, the district has operated on two instructional coaches, one at the elementary and one at the high school, kind of a K-8 and then a 9-12.
Mm-hmm.
So recently we were unable to hire the elementary instructional coach. So we're moving to a model to have a district-wide curriculum director. And so the board approved that proposal last night. And so we are super stoked and excited to introduce Linda Smith as our new curriculum director for the district. She was the high school instructional coach, but I was able to collaborate with the principals on a job duties list that's going to incorporate an 8-year curriculum rotation. So, in theory, all of our different content areas that we teach, even including electives, in theory, would have textbooks or integrated text that was not more than 8 years old. And so we're going to have her take on those roles, also be in charge of district-wide testing, grant writing, be in charge of a lot of data, be in charge of really understanding that data and reporting back to myself and the board, working with our principals, with our building leadership teams to take those MAP scores and incorporate lessons in the classroom that can help improve those scores.
Now, when it comes to a curriculum director, Mr. Spang, this is kind of a growing trend as well. What is kind of the vision of those individuals? Why are they necessary? I mean, a lot of people and I hear this often in Clinton because Clinton has a curriculum director. It's just like that's just another administrator you have to pay as a taxpayer and those sorts of things. Why are these people necessary?
They're very, very necessary. Through my experience, especially in smaller schools, I guess the community's question would be like, isn't that your principal's job? Yes, it is. But, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, the principal wears a lot of hats. So yes, they team up with our curriculum director to provide curricular experiences for our teachers to push out to our kids. But our principals also deal with discipline. Our principals also deal with just an abundance of issues on a daily basis. They help out with testing. They're kind of the jack of all trades. And so they also have evaluations, which we are legally obligated to complete. So it really allows our principals of both buildings to be principals and take off some of those hats that make it difficult to do their job. There's the old adage, do you want to do a few things great or do a lot of things just average? And so we're bringing that concept here. A lot of local schools, like you said, are incorporating this curriculum director, and some of the roles of the curriculum director were the same as the instructional coach, but some of them obviously are on a much larger scale. Instead of Linda being in charge for 9-12, now she'll be in charge of K-12, and that comes with a lot of responsibility, a lot of meetings with teachers, and really looking at data and not being a victim to the drip theory, which is data rich but information poor. We want to make sure that we're using that data to drive curricular improvements.
Sure. Well, Mr. Spang, let's wrap things up with hiring a social worker and counselor in your buildings. What's going on here?
Yeah, so in discussions with the board and Tri-County, because that's who we contract with to provide special ed support through the district, but we don't have a district-wide social worker. We contract through Tri-County, and so they do an absolute fantastic job. We have no complaints, but they're just not here every day of the week. And so, unfortunately, if we have a crisis occur, and students need our support, again, sometimes our guidance counselors and even principals are stepping in to help with that if the social worker's not there. So this is an effort to, work with Tri-County, post a position. This person would be a Tri-County employee, but we would still be a part of the interview process and be able to select the candidate that we feel is the right fit. But we're not just going to fill the position to fill the position. So we're going to really dig deep down and then find out the qualities of these candidates, because at the end of the day, education is about relationships. And
Sure.
we want to bring someone on that's going to be able to help our students, care about our students, but also be a resource that we can tap into 5 days a week.
Mr. Spang, always good to talk with you, my friend. We'll talk more in the future. Thanks for doing this with us today.
Appreciate it, Seth.
Yep, Jason Spang is the superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools, my guest on the Zoom call. Network News on the way.